Hi, 888-589-8880 is the number to call. We'll go to the phone lines here very quickly. Rob, we play clip number 2, first of all, before we get to clip 13. You know that the Obamacare is in tremendous trouble. I mean, it is trouble. Democrats are freaked out. They're thinking about losing elections in 2014. Actuaries are saying premium costs is going to go through the roof. What's his name? Emanuel, the brother of Rahm Emanuel, Ezekiel Emanuel. He was an advisor to President Obama. He said, look, this thing is potentially going to be a catastrophe because what they're going to do, and see, young people don't know this. 18 to 29-year-olds, they voted for Obama. He was great. He's the Messiah. He's going to lower the seas and heal the planet and all that. They voted for him. And yet the millennials, 18 to 29, they are going to get completely hosed in premiums. Their premiums are going to go up anywhere from 130% to 200% because under Obamacare, they've got to get young, healthy people who don't use health services, medical services. They got them to cough up a boatload of cash so they can pay for health care for senior citizens. That's what they're going to do. They're going to transfer all of those payments from the young who are healthy and don't go to the doctor and don't need medical care. They're going to grab that money from them so they can provide health care for senior citizens. Well, the young, they don't even know this is coming. They still think Obama's wonderful. 42% of the American people don't even know that this is the law of the land. And what's going to happen is this is going to get rolled out in October, and these 18 to 29-year-olds, they're going to get a look at their health care premium and say, forget about it. I ain't paying that kind of money. I don't even go to the doctor. I haven't been to the doctor in 3 years. Why do I want to pay those kind of premiums? I'm not even going to do it. And then they don't even know about the penalty. So they're going to get this bill apparently from the IRS. They're going to know, what is this doing on my 1040 form? I mean, this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a classic, complete, Titanic disaster. And the smart Democrats know this thing, and they're getting really, really desperate. Here is clip number 2. This is Janice Hahn, a representative from California. Big surprise there. This is how desperate they are getting. She is saying, look, Obamacare is good for marriages. Let's listen.
It's an interesting angle to talk about the people who really only have jobs for the health insurance as being one angle of that. I had a friend who got married to the wrong person just so she could have health insurance. So we'll also have a lot of less bad marriages as a result of this.
Good grief. Janice Hahn, the solution to that is tell your friend not to marry somebody for health insurance. How foolish is that? So she's saying, I don't know, it's just crazy. That's how desperate they're getting. Now, one more clip. This is Touré. This is this guy that's a commentator on MSNBC. And, you know, we've talked about this before, but it's just worth reviewing before you hear this clip, that the majority of jihadis are wealthy and highly educated. Remember the underwear bomber? His dad was some kind of highly placed international banker. I mean, the meme out there is they're poor, they're poverty-stricken, they're dirt poor, they're angry about this because they're so poor, and they take it out on the West. That is not the case. These are people that have the money to come and get educated in the West. They've got the money to get on a plane and fly to the West. So they're not these poverty-stricken goat herders that everybody wants to say they are, but apparently Touré still hasn't educated himself on this. Let's listen.
And then there's the terrorist card. Open borders and all those bad guys would flood in. Not exactly. I remind you that the 9/11 hijackers and the two brothers in Boston entered our shores legally. But open borders attacks the root cause of Muslim extremism. Young, impoverished men in Muslim countries, men with no future, are more easily radicalized. It's Muslim poverty that's threatening our security, not our immigration system. Giving these men the chance to work here could diminish their poverty, their anger, and their misunderstanding of the U.S. before they're even radicalized.
Man, that is just hopelessly insane is what that is. But unfortunately, that's how this administration and liberals in America think. Well, let's go to the phones. Let's grab a call from Lottie in Lawton, Oklahoma. Lottie, thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
Hello. I just wanted to point out that our president's morals are being actually put out in the public now. We're seeing where he actually stands on abortion, homosexuality, It's being made public so the world can see where he really stands, and I think that is a good thing.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that, what I'm kind of reading into what you're saying is the American people have kind of been fooled about what his real standard of morality is, and now it's becoming evident to everybody what he is and what he believes and what his moral standards are.
Exactly, and I wanted to say for the girls that were taken prisoner, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. The 3 girls that were taken.
in Cleveland, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope that they can have they can get a retreat away from the media, and can get some. I think that would be so wonderful for those girls.
Yeah.
And I hope that Oprah or one of those can use their money to help them to do that.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, Lottie. I mean, that's the gravest thing. I don't know how you recover from something like that, being in that kind of captivity and subject to that kind of brutality for a decade. I don't know how anybody completely recovers from that. So may God's grace and mercy rest on those women, the terrible, terrible victims, and I mean the cruelty and the harm inflicted on them, on their souls, the crushing of their spirits. I mean, it just grieves you when you think about what has happened to these women. So may God's grace rest upon them in full measure. Thank you, Lottie. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Ryan in Oxford, Mississippi. Ryan, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. Talk to me. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. You doing all right today?
Yes, I'm doing fine. How about you?
I actually had a question and then a point I'd like to make, but I'll try to make them real quick. My question about Ted Cruz, since he wasn't born in America, he was born in Canada. How do you expect him to be able to run for president? My point I'd like to make is I've listened to you quite regularly, and I hear you reference stories from the Daily Mail, UK. I don't know who your fact checker is or how you guys check your sources, but the Daily Mail is a tabloid magazine, and about 80% of their stories are just made up, pure baloney. I just wanted you to know that you lose some credibility when I hear you say this stuff on the radio, and you obviously haven't checked your sources. But I would like to hear what you think about Ted Cruz running for president, since he doesn't have the legal ability to. I'll take my take it off the air. Thank you.
All right, and Ryan is right about the Daily Mail. It's got a pretty significant component of sort of celebrity stuff, kind of fluff pieces, but they've got a pretty solid news department, and that's where Ryan is just kind of misguided. It's not that, there's a lot of stuff that's on there that's just kind of fluff. It's like TMZ or something you get on Entertainment Tonight or something like that. But they've got, they do serious news there, so you have to, obviously, like anything, you got to be selective about what you use from the Daily Mail. But the reality is you'll find a lot of stuff in London newspapers that you do not find in American newspapers. It's kind of a shame that stuff even has to show up on something like the Daily Mail or the Guardian or the Telegraph. It ought to be in an American newspaper, but you can't find it here. Now, it's interesting to me, the left, they just yelled conspiracy theory when people on the right would raise questions about whether President Obama is a natural-born citizen. Well, there's no question when it comes to Ted Cruz. His mother is an American citizen. He is a natural-born American citizen. His mom, American citizen. He was born to American citizen. He is an American citizen. But it's interesting to me, the left is out there now. They've gone birther on Ted Cruz. The same people that just got totally wigged out when conservatives would raise questions about whether Obama was a natural-born citizen, and basically with legitimate questions. That birth certificate on the White House website is totally manufactured. That's totally bogus. I had our IT people walk me through that thing. You can see the way that thing has been layered in. I'm not saying there's not an authentic certificate of live birth out there somewhere, but that's not it. There's no question about that. But then these same people, now all of a sudden they've gone birther on Ted Cruz. Last call of the day, let's go to Drew, Rutherford Glen, Virginia. Drew, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
First thing, go Ted Cruz. The second thing is I watched on C-SPAN the hearings on Benghazi, and I've got a way to tie that into the funding of abortion.
Okay.
When the fellow Nordstrom told those guys that the buildings there didn't meet security standards, the socialist from Missouri, Mr. Conley, I think it was, he brought up that the Republican Republican representatives voted down funding in consecutive years for the security of the buildings in these high-risk areas. 144 million dollars. Well, you know what? If you defunded Planned Parenthood for 1 year, you covered $474 million, and they still had $26 million to murder babies.
Okay, well that's a very, very good point. And the only one other response I would make, Drew, and I appreciate your point, and it's well taken, is that the Obama administration has said that in terms of beefing up security there, they have said openly that resources were not a problem. Now, some of them are trying to say, well, yeah, it was a problem. We wanted to beef up security, didn't have the money, but at the time, the Obama administration says no. It wasn't an issue of resource. It was just a decision that we made not to provide the additional security. Well, that's it for this week on Focal Point. Thanks for tuning in. Here's a blessing for your weekend. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. To him be the dominion forever and ever. Amen. See you Monday.
The views